Hello everyone and welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. This is part 3 of my layout update, the first one that I've ever done with this layout. If you want to know what happened in the first 2 parts, just I guess click on the links in my channel and you'll see everything about basically how I came up with the concept of this layout and some of the sections that I've already spoken about. In this part, I'm going to explain how we get from this section, the coal facility, into the closet, through the closet, and out the side of the closet. What happens once it comes out of the closet is that it goes into the entranceway to the room. It's the only way in and out. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to be ducking under this thing constantly, and at the same time I didn't want the track plan to be too close to the aisle, because then I would be wasting all the space here. So in order to maximize space, I pushed it all the way as far as I could. And this is actually a light switch cover, so I have like fake light switches that I can snap on when I'm not using this, and it looks like this was never there. I have it on both sides. So that's kind of cool. But this is a complete lift-out bridge, and it comes out all the way. You might be wondering how I got the scenery in here. I'm going to explain that in just a bit. But first, let's watch this train go by. In my past videos, I explained that I love coal trains and very long ones at that. So while I'm explaining this, this will be going on. The scenery here is almost done. Nothing to it really, just basic scenery material. I have some, some of the ground foam, just plaster. I made the rocks basically out of hydrocal, and the water is just basically going to be Envirotex. I've already made this dam so that it holds the water in place. This is like a very thin, almost like cellophane type material. And I took some clear caulk, put a really thin bead here, and then just pushed the stuff against it, and now created like a total seal there. Once I pour the Envirotex in, it'll come up a little bit, and then I'm just going to take a blade and just trim off the top. I've done it before, so I know it works. And it'll look real neat, real clean, and it won't look bulky. I used some super trees, which I absolutely love. I think they look so realistic. And this is that sea sponge stuff. I don't know what they actually call it, but I find it to be kind of cool. It looks like little bushes and things, so I added those, and they're just little twigs. The sand that you see here is actually just grout. I made a little like kind of almost like a erosion type thing happening there. And this is rocks from my backyard and some dirt from my backyard that I glued on there. It looks like just a little island there. Some rocks that fell off. I'll probably add more stuff here, but for now, it's good enough. So here's what's happening here. The lift-out bridge I built first, and then I decided to put the scenery on later. But first, let me explain how the lift-out bridge functions. Down here, I got these adjustable latches from eBay for like peanuts. I mean, I think they cost like $2. Or I got them in bulk. I got like 5 of them for like, I don't know, $8 or something. It was really cheap. And what's great about them is that they're easy to work with and they're adjustable. So, you know, sometimes when you get the warmer weather up here in the second floor, things expand or can contract in the winter, and you need to be able to adjust this stuff so that it creates a nice solid seal here. So the way it works is there's a latch that's hooked up to that little bracket there, and when you hook it on and you pull down, it pulls the bridge down and lines up all the tracks on top and holds them in place. I did have a problem with this when I first built it. It was kind of a little bit warped and the tracks were, not aligned correctly, and I was derailing the car. So as soon as I put this on, it all went right back to perfect. which I was really happy about. Then the track power, which is tucked inside this, basically this box, gets connected with, this is like a headphone jack. It's like a typical 1/8 inch headphone jack. This is the male part, you know, just a positive and negative, or right and left, or A and B. And then if I unplug this, what you see there, the little silver part, is just a female receiver for 1/8 inch plugs, which looks, you know, it looks like a headphone jack, basically. I just don't want to unplug it because it shorts out the system when it touches, you know, the sides, and I don't want to mess with that. So basically I did that on both sides, as you can see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this so I can show you how the scenery works. Once I release that, it releases the pressure of the bridge. And if you see, there's like a panel down here it kind of goes under the bridge. And the reason I did that is so that I can take this whole scenery out. So I could just slip it out like this. And that's the, you know, I basically built this off the layout, like by itself. And I put the hardboard, or the masonite board, in the back so that I can have some kind of, you know, surface to slide in. And so there is a little gap, you know, between these guides and the bridge. But the bridge, it's just basically a box. That's all it is. So when that comes out, which comes completely out, all I do is hang it up here on 2 screws, and then it's out of the way. So I can come in and out, not a big deal. And it comes out in 2 seconds. It's really not hard to do. But then I could just take the scenery and just basically slide it in. And now, there it is. And once I clamp these down, it holds everything tight in place, and I don't have to worry about the tracks, you know, or anything being out of alignment. So I'm very happy with that. Now, what you don't know is that once the train comes out of the closet, it actually goes into a place that you would not expect. So let me show you what's happening up here. The second floor is very dated, as you can see. There's paneling, and there's like really bad wallpaper from like the original owner. You know, I think he probably put that up in the 60s and never changed it, or 70s. And you know, the floor is in bad shape, and so basically this is going to be a gut job eventually. I'm not going to be able to get to this upstairs for another like 5 or 6 years, because I want to do the basement first, because we have more. I can build a studio down there, and there's, you know, more room for a living space. So, but what I want to show you is that this room here is a bathroom, and that's a pink toilet. Yes, it is, and the lid does not match anything. It's just really bad. It's really dated. And so since we're not using this bathroom, I mean, I use it, don't get me wrong, I use it, but this thing here, this square, is basically a stand-up shower, one of those plastic junky showers that, you know, were in style years ago. And it hasn't been working since we bought the house because there's leaks, and it was installed incorrectly, and the floor moves, and it's just a mess. That has to get ripped out eventually. And it also, I can't run it because it'll wreck my downstairs ceiling. So I figured, hey, if it's just sitting there doing nothing and we can't even use it, why not run my trains through it? And that's what you're seeing right now. Basically, it go right through the shower. I don't know if you can see the piping and the, you know, all the shower stuff there, but it was a great way to save space and not have to create some awkward turns and things like that. So I'm happy with that. My wife is not, but that's to be expected. But you know, we don't do anything up here anyway. We don't have kids. We just have a bunch of dogs, and we're never up here. The only person up here is me. That is a guest room. We never use it because we never have guests. So that's eventually going to become my my dispatcher room if people are here for an operation. So that's part 3. You know, I might put, the only thing I might add here is just a panel, like another panel that with magnets just pops into the frame here. And it'll just be like sky or maybe like a photo backdrop of more trees to make it look like it's deeper than it really is. And so I can photograph things without seeing a bed behind it or that ugly wallpaper that I was describing before. And that's it. I thought that came out really good. I am using code 80 track instead of code 55 track like in the rest of the layout because I feel like it's just safer. Plus I had it for my old layout, so I might as well use it for something. And even though I don't like the height, it's just, it looks a little toyish. I feel like it doesn't allow the trains to derail. You know, it keeps them on track a little bit better. And I also made sure to put re-railers on both ends and both parts of the bridge, as you can see. So I basically just cut out on the other side, like on the other side I cut the track here, so it would just become like a flat connection between the two, you know, between the seam. I don't know if you can see that, just like that. So, you know, it's been totally smooth. I've had no problems, winter, summer, and any weather. And as it expands and contracts, it's still fine. So I'm happy with the progress here. All right, that's the end of part 3. I'll be back for part 4, and I'll show you more sections here.